so I'm gonna bring our differential back and put it back where it's supposed to be. Sits just like that right there. Try to straighten it out. Cool. And take our subframe and put that right back over that. That's gonna go like that. Gonna get our hardware. So that's gonna be these two in the back and this big one in the front. So from what I understand, I think all the bolts go this way. So it's gonna go through our solid mount. Actually, might be smart to do the rears first. Lift the rear up. I think it's gonna hold it at least in position for us. Okay. Get the bolt through the bushings. Can help us get the front a little easier. Weirdly enough, it looks like it's perfect. It's not doing it. So I think I'm gonna go get a hammer maybe. See if I can catch on something. So I'm just basically trying to see where it's hitting. Okay, so the subframe makes it go down a little bit more. Okay. A little bit too far that way, so I think I'm gonna get a hammer just to tap regardless. All right, so right here you can see I can kind of like start threading it, so I'm just gonna give it a couple taps with the hammer. There it is. So in my pocket, I did grab all new nuts. So take my pocket out. Big one goes up front. And the two small ones go in the rear. And the small ones, of course, go inside that opening in the bushing. Get it where it's on. Recommended to replace the nuts. Bolts not really necessary. So I'm gonna run quickly and get the torque spec for these three. We have one more thing to do before we can actually prop this back up into the car. There is a bunch of gear oil all over the bottom of the chassis, so I'm just gonna go in there with some brake clean and some rags. Clean it all up, at least everywhere that is gonna be covered by the subframe. We can get the subframe back in. And then we can actually start, putting our spindles and heat shields and all that stuff back in. So let me get the torque specs and we'll take it from there. All right, so the front's at 21. We're gonna just get it tightened up a little bit first. I'm gonna start with the solid mount in the front because I feel like that makes a lot more sense. It doesn't have any play. If we tighten up the rears first, I think it would potentially hurt the solid mount since it is a steel bolt going through the aluminum. So I'm just gonna tighten it up first by hand. This is going 150 Newton meters, and the way you do 150 Newton meters in the front one is actually do it by the nut, so like normal. But what's different is the spec for the rear says to do them by the bolt heads at 105 Newton meters. So I'll show you that in a minute. I'm just gonna get this to where it needs to be. Okay, so that is finished. I'm going to change this to 105 Newton meters. I'm going to need a 19 millimeter, two sets of 19 millimeter sockets for the rear. I brought a wrench, but it's not going to work. All right, so back here, you have your 19 here. And, okay, so really don't have much thread to them, so I'm going to use a torque wrench. I know some people get a little crazy about this, but it doesn't ever cause me any issues doing this with a torque wrench. So I'm gonna put the torque wrench on the bolt head side on this one. You're not torquing these by the nuts. Don't ask me why, it's just in the technical service information. So we're gonna get it tight first. Tighten the other side as well. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold this one here, and we're going to torque to 105 millimeters. Actually, I can get it stuck against that jack that you can get. Again, you're doing this by the bolt side. What's irritating is the torque wrench is a swivel head. Okay, maybe like that. Right around here, we're starting to get tight. Yep. Second light in the torque wrench. 98, so just a little bit more. Right there. Okay. Moving on the other side. This one we can stop against the subframe itself. Okay. Just like that. So we are all set with those. I'm gonna go with a paint marker and just mark the 3 bolt heads just to show that they were torqued to spec. And we can go under the car, clean it up, and get it ready for install. All right, so the leaking diff did give us a lot of road grime. You can see it all up here and all up here. So we are gonna take some brake parts cleaner and just clean that all up. All right, so we wanted to center it up on the jack just a little bit so you can see like the gravity is like really putting this perfectly on the jack. So as it lifts, it's not sliding down and it's not sliding from side to side. So once I get it to kind of where I need it to be in regards to it being level like that, I'm gonna put the under here because this is furthest from where it's gonna be supported. So now that we're here with this, so it seems like it's a little bit more on this side, but I don't want to screw with the gravity too much of it. So I'm gonna lower the lift now, and now the only thing we have to worry about is actually getting it physically lined up. So once I lower the lift, you'll see what I'm talking about. Yeah, like right now I can already tell we need to move in a lot further. So I'm gonna go like here, go a little bit more, and I need to turn, I think, a little bit. Let's see what this looks like over here. Okay, that one looks okay. This one still looks a little off. So maybe the jack is crooked. So we'll do that. Okay. Now lowering it. Around here, I'm gonna stop and check. Seems like we're lining up pretty decently, except we need to go forward just a couple inches. So let's say like there. Twist back just a little bit. I think right there we're good. So now I can do a combination of lifting this and lowering the car. I think this is gonna be the best route. Okay. So I'm happy with that right there. I think if I go any higher with the jack, it's actually gonna start screwing with it. So just keep going a little bit more. So right now I think my hose is hitting on this side because I did see that was gonna happen. I'm just gonna hang up on the shock a little higher. Something like that. All right, if Justin, you want to go now to the side and get a good orientation of these mounts, where they actually are coming up, like right here. All right, so now we're gonna take our bolts. I'm just gonna do these 2 over here since you guys are watching it over here. And we're just gonna get these in. You still use this little rubber bushing because it's actually connected on this. And with this bushing setup, I mean with this rear subframe setup, obviously you want to hand start all these threads. Don't use an impact gun to put this stuff in. That'd be the worst decision. So this is what I was talking about. We just want to make sure that this sits inside there and then it'll pull itself through. This is the one that kind of was a little wonky when we were talking about getting it in. But it's gonna have no place else to go except in. It'll find a way. Yeah, you can see it's even going in with my fingers. Let's see, it will. So, before we go and hit these with the impact or anything like that, we are going to go do the other side. It's the rear. All right, our last one. Okay, now I can grab my impact, which is right here. 21, should be. Yep, okay, put that on here. I'm just gonna go until it kind of does that, because we have to torque these to spec, obviously. Okay, let's go do the other side. You can see this jack is no longer necessary. And you can see us driving the subframe up. Last one, it's the one that's important to make sure it's lined up right. See, no problems. Okay, so now we're gonna release the jack, pull the stands out, and actually put the car up. All right, so now we can release this floor jack, pull it out, and jack the car up. All right, so now we can take a 21mm, hit this one again. Once it kind of changes and sounds like it's stressing out, we're just gonna torque it to 163mm, which I already have preset on my torque wrench. Right there. So, see the power flex bushing taking a little bit of stress right there. So that's where it needs to be. And do the same for all four. That one's already there. So the rears aren't really supposed to have this bushing, it's added in. The front is supposed to have it. So the front probably has a more prepared tolerance for it, and that's why it looks a little better than the rear. The rear it's in addition to, because remember, you did have this top piece up front. So let's go switch to the other side. And that's it. So that's our subframe and differential fully reinstalled. So huge feat over here. We're gonna go quickly get some images of what it looks like underneath, so let's do that now.